Welcome back to the Gridiron Across the U.S. podcast. That's something we have not said in a long time. We've been gone for 2 months, but now we are finally back. How does it feel, Kevin?
It feels great. Took a little bit of a hiatus since essentially the draft. We've been busy with real life stuff, but with a lot of breaking news that we're going to discuss today happening recently in the NFL, we decided now would be the best time to make our grand return as we head into, the dog days of summer. Biggest news are usually who's showing up to training camp. But no, we've got some big news to talk about, especially with the Steelers here. You want to go into it more?
Yeah, it's going to be a big Steelers day for you because a major trade in the NFL for the first time in a long time this offseason has happened today. Minka Fitzpatrick was traded to the Dolphins in return for Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey. Obviously, this is a Steelers trade, and you can see the Aaron Rodgers, Kenny Pickett jersey on you right there.
No, it's an Aaron Rodgers jersey. Don't worry about it.
It's an Aaron Rodgers jersey. Yeah, you get into that trade. How do you feel about that?
So I'm thinking we're back. I'm thinking we're winning the Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
It's pretty obvious that the Steelers are now the number one threat out of the AFC. But no, I think this is a good trade for the Steelers. Obviously, when I got the first notification, I did not expect the full trade to be what it was.
Hmm.
When I saw that they were trading for Minka or for Ramsey, I didn't expect them to be sending Minka back. That was definitely quite a shock. But I think it's a very good trade because Jalen Ramsey is still a stud. And I think I just looking on social media, people don't realize Minka is not who he used to be.
No, not
Minka
at all.
in like 2022, when he had 6 interceptions, best safety in the league, and then we paid him as if he was the best safety in the league. He hasn't been like that for the last 2 seasons. He has 1 turnover in the last 2 years. He has a 127.6 passer rating allowed when targeted. He's not good, essentially. He's just not. And we're paying him number one safety in the league kind of money. That just doesn't work. We were gonna have to move off of him eventually, and there was rumors, with his contract ending, not this season, but the one after, we would have to extend him next offseason. That wasn't gonna happen. So they move him here. They're proactive, and they get something in return, and they get one of the best corners of the decade, I would say, Jalen Ramsey.
Mhm.
He's not necessarily in his prime, but he's still a great player. He's much less washed than Minka is. And then we also get Jonnu Smith. Arthur Smith with this little love affair. I no idea what that is. But I think this is a good move because the Steelers are lacking a true slot option. And while Jonnu Smith is technically a tight end, we know he's on the more athletic side compared to a traditional, like, big, bulky, blocking tight end. So I think him and Fryermuth and even Darnell Washington, we may see some 13 personnel with 3 tight ends on the field. I think it'll be a good fit. I think Johnny will eat out of the slot. And I think that really gets the offense going because we traded for DK, obviously, but they needed another pass catcher. And I think this Johnny acquisition gets them there. What do you think about this from an outside perspective?
I think that going into the offseason, Steelers really had to address that pass catching situation, and they did just that. DK was a huge get for them. Really going to be a great number one option with Calvin Austin right next to him. No more George Pickens, but that at least takes some of the drama out of the locker room. And like you said, they've always been looking for that slot guy. Ben Skoranek, while he can do it, he's not going to do it all the time. So
That's
getting a guy like Jonnu Smith, he had about 900 yards last season, made the Pro Bowl as a tight end, but like you said, played in the slot a lot more than he did at that regular tight end position. That's really going to help the passing offense. They're just trying to make Rodgers happy. And speaking of Rodgers, more thoughts. More thoughts on Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the media is out to get Rodgers. And everything I've heard so far since he's got to Pittsburgh is he's been everyone's loved him. There hasn't been problems, but he's painted as this like narcissistic, egocentric person. That hasn't been the case. And I think this is a very low risk, high reward. We signed him for 10 million, can be up to 19 million. If you look into the incentives in his contract, none of it is stat based. It's all team performance based. He is bought in, he is committed. The incentives are based on you make it to the next round of playoffs, championship, Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, and there is an MVP in there, but I'm not gonna act like that has any chance of happening. But with this Ramsey trade and this defense, if we just get a glimpse of 2020 Aaron Rodgers, this team is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
If this offense can compete at somewhat of a 15th best offense in the league with this defense,
Super
they're
Bowl.
a contender. And that's the truth. And I think they've really made an effort to clear the locker room of potential cancers, I would say. Now you would say, oh, well, that's weird considering they brought in Rodgers. But as I've said, I think Rodgers is a much better guy than people give him credit for. And the Pickens trade, you get rid of Pickens, you get rid of Deontay the year before. And, this offense, while it lacks the traditional receiving talent, I think with Jonnu Smith and our 13 personnel and then our speed with DK and Calvin Austin, I'm excited. And that doesn't even mention Caleb Johnson. I think he's going to be a stud. Iowa running back.
Let's go. Like another thing happening with Rodgers is he got married. We don't know who to yet, though. He's wearing his wedding ring around, but he hasn't publicly said who. Do you think there's even a wife?
Yeah, I think there is. He's just so weird that in that way that we'll never even know, to be honest. But
He's never gonna tell us.
yeah. But no, I think this Rodgers situation is much better than people want to say. It's a big upgrade from Russ, big upgrade from Fields, and it's a 1-year deal. This next quarterback class coming up is going to be loaded. We already know that, and I think their whole goal this entire time has been targeted QB in this class, and I think Rodgers is the perfect bridge. This trade, this Ramsey trade, shows that they're bought in for this year because TJ's not getting any younger. Cam Hayward's not getting any younger. The core is getting older, and they want to make a run. 2015 Broncos. Rodgers runs off into the sunset like Peyton Manning. I'm excited for this season. I think this isn't the old Steelers. This is a very untraditional Steelers offseason, and I'm very excited.
This Steelers team and kind of what they're doing in this offseason kind of reminds me of the Rams and what they did in 2021, 2022 season. Your core's getting older. Like they had Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, all those guys were getting older, and they go out and get their quarterback and build their offense to go all in for a Super Bowl. And if they don't win the Super Bowl, they're kind of screwed. I mean, the Rams have returned to the playoffs, but I feel like they're kind of going to that approach. Like, look, our window's about to close. All our studs on defense are getting older. Let's just go all in on this offense and defense and see if we can bring number 7 to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the best move here. You're not gonna bridge a young quarterback. Young QB gets into his prime, let's say year 3. TJ's 33. Cam Hayward's retired. Highsmith is in his 30s. Minka, if he was still on the team, would be in his 30s. Like, this is the move, and I'm fully bought into what this front office is doing here. I think we make our run, and then no matter if we win the Super Bowl or not this year, we go and we trade up for a rookie quarterback next year when the draft is in Pittsburgh. I'm excited for what we've got going into the season.
Seems like they know what they're doing there. So on this side, I got high aspirations for the Steelers. They're going to end up 9-8 and lose the wild card. We all know it, but
that's such a weak narrative though, because they've never even gone 9-8. They
10-7.
It's been like records around that, but I'm tired of hearing 9-8. But one thing that I'm not sure of is the TJ Watt contract situation. He's holding out at training camp. Myles Garrett kind of screwed us because he took a $40 million deal since he didn't want to be in Cleveland. The Browns just gave him an empty check because they're poverty. So now, what happens with TJ Watt? There was trade rumors this morning. That's never going to happen. They're not going to trade him. Paying a 30-year-old TJ Watt $40 million a year for a guy who's missed a ton of games over the last couple of years, I don't know. It's definitely something to be thought about.
Yeah.
But, with Rodgers on a 1-year deal, is there a way they convince TJ to just buy him for this year and then they blow it up in the offseason? Maybe. It's a sticky situation. I don't know what they do here, but you're not winning a Super Bowl this year if TJ Watt's not on the field. That's simple. He needs to be there. He's a game wrecker. He's probably won the Steelers over 10 games by himself in the last couple of years. Like he's that good. He doesn't put up the fancy pass rush win rate PFF stats, but when it's the fourth quarter, the other team's coming down the field. It's a 1-score game. he's the guy that gets around the edge and punches the ball out and wins you the game. I can't even count how many times he's done it. In fact, every time that scenario comes up in a game, I don't feel nervous because I know it's going to happen. Like I was at the Giants Steelers game and the same thing happened. Like it's just so predictable. So they need to figure out TJ Watt for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Another guy who has a similar contract situation is Terry McLaurin. It's really a simple situation. It's just he's at a number up here, they're at a number there. No one's willing to compromise. He's unhappy. There's trade rumors. I mean, we've seen this a million times with receivers.
Every year.
What?
Every year that happens with somebody.
Yeah. Do I think he gets traded? No. Could he? Yes. We have to see who caves, if anyone caves. But I think for him to leave that Washington situation with Jaden Daniels going to the NFC Championship, you'd be stupid. I'm just going to put it simple. I would not leave that situation if I'm a receiver.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to leave, though. You had your best career year coming off with the best rookie quarterback in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, who's only 25 years old at this point and just went to the NFC Championship, but you want to cry about it and get a little more money? Well, then go play for, like, Cleveland or something.
Cleveland.
They already spent all their money there. There's nothing left.
They're the Browns. The Browns are the Browns. But yeah, that's the Terry McLaurin situation. And other than what we've discussed so far, there really hasn't been that much since the draft. I know we never did a traditional draft episode, but it's been so long. If anyone's still watching at this point, leave a comment down below. If you want a draft episode, we'll make one. But other than the Ramsey Minka trade and those contract situations, Justin Tucker, who was released by the Ravens, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he was cut.
Yeah, he got 10-game suspension. I've never hate watched more on a player like this. This is the greatest news of my life. It's just truly beautiful to see. I mean, I've never seen someone as cocky as him. And, if the Ravens do end up winning it all this year, at least he's not there to do it. I'm just happy that he never won a ring. What do you think about this?
I mean, it's the end of his career now, so we can all celebrate.
Yeah, he's done. No one's going to
sign him. No one's signing him. He was absolutely washed last season. Then you put the allegations on top of that, and knowing Tucker, these allegations are definitely true. There's no getting past these ones. Just like Deshaun Watson, none of that was fake, but he's out of the league forever. Deshaun's probably going to be out of the league in the next 2 years, I'd say. So we can send them both off to, like, I don't know, where they can go to Miami.
Epstein Island,
yeah. They'll both fit right in there, but get these bums out of my league. It's a better place without them.
Yeah, 100%. And other than that, the biggest NFL news has been stadium controversies. We have 3 AFC contenders here with the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Bills. So the Chiefs, they play in Arrowhead, obviously one of the most iconic stadiums in the league. Here's the deal. Arrowhead's almost 50. It's over 50 or almost 50. It's somewhere in that range years old. And they need upgrades. And Missouri, where they play currently, is only offering $1.15 billion in taxpayer money to these billionaire owners who can't pay for their own stadiums. But Kansas is trying to lure the Chiefs back over into Kansas with a $3 billion domed stadium to take them out of Overland Park, Missouri. I don't know. I mean, I can't really see the Chiefs playing anywhere but Arrowhead. But if I'm the Chiefs owner, I know which deal I'm taking here.
Yeah, if you look at the two deals, you're getting a lot less money, $1.15 billion. We're talking to stay in Missouri, which they've been there ever since they were the Kansas City Chiefs. They've been in Missouri with Arrowhead, such an iconic stadium. Crowd noise just pumps in there. But then you look at the other offer, $3 billion in a dome. Imagine the crowd noise in there with the dome. Yeah. They'd probably pump some sound in too. It's going to be even more of a nightmare for opposing teams, especially come playoff time. But if I was the owner, I think I'd actually stay in Missouri because it's just the history, the legacy, and it's $1.15 billion. It's not too big of a difference. I mean, still is.
Yeah, and that's also for renovations compared to. So obviously, building a brand new stadium is going to cost more than renovations. But like the thought of having a brand new stadium for out of the owner's pocket the same cost. I mean, I don't see how you decline that, especially like when you look at their situation, they're just in a giant parking lot
Yeah.
next to the Royals. Like, I would try and get something close to downtown. I know Kansas City notoriously doesn't have great public transportation, so it might not even matter to them, honestly. But all of this, I don't see the Chiefs leaving Arrowhead. It's never going to happen. But on to the Bengals. The Bengals struck a deal with Hamilton County, Ohio, where Cincinnati is, for a $470 million renovation, $350 million out of taxpayer money, $120 million from the Bengals, and the upgrades include club lounge enhancements, concourse improvements, better concessions, suite refreshers, and digital scoreboard tech. So essentially more for the rich people and not for the average NFL fan, as we've been seeing in almost every stadium that's gone up recently. They're just tailoring to the top 1% of the people in the stadium, and it kind of sucks for the average fan experience, but they're the ones who pay, so that's who they're going to tailor to.
Yeah, what I think about this is gonna give a little shout out to a guy named Prez here. The Bengals fans, you're gonna hear them shouting Joey B in those stands. But yeah, just tailing for the rich fans there. But it's the Bengals, so do I really care about their average fans? Not really.
Absolutely not.
No, not one bit. And since they're
Art
irrelevant,
Rooney would never do such a tragedy to the Steelers.
no, never. And going on to the next stadium, I actually saw this one in person. I was going to Syracuse a couple months ago, about right after the draft when we took our little break, and I saw the Bills stadium going up right next to their current stadium. And I gotta say, it's like 15 times bigger than their current stadium. The current stadium looks like a little college football, tiny, nestled in the heart of Ohio stadium. But then you look over there, it's like SoFi 2.0, I gotta say. It's not that. It's also like SoFi indoor outdoor experience. That's an official quote from the tour guides there. But it looks great. The final beam was recently placed. They're making great progress. $2 billion on that stadium with 62,000 people being able to sit in it. With the Buffalo faithful, snow's still going to fly in their nice luxury stadium. I think that's a great move for them. It's going to be a great place because Orchard Park's really getting old.
Yeah. But once again, so you said it looks much bigger, but the reason that is because their current stadium's built into the ground, and this one's built up. I'm assuming it's going to be nice, but once again, you're pricing out the average fan. You're losing 10,000 seats. It's only going to be about 62,000 seats compared to the other stadium being in the 70s range, and it's a brand new stadium. The ticket prices are going to be so much more expensive. So once again, the average fan, which Buffalo is known for, they're just getting priced out of it. So it's kind of a bummy situation for the fans. I mean, obviously, when you get in the gates, it's going to be a much better experience with the heated seats in the Buffalo winter. But I don't know. I mean, we're seeing a new era of football for sure. I think we've seen a expedited version of it in the Super Bowl where 90% of the people in the crowd for the Super Bowl do not care about the game.
Mm-hmm.
They're there for business deals. They're there because corporate invited them, and then maybe 10% of it's actual fans of the teams. And we're seeing this move towards tailoring to those people because they make the NFL more money, and it just kind of sucks for the average fan. And I think these new stadiums that come in, I mean, we've seen the outrageous ticket prices at SoFi and Allegiant and all these new stadiums, Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, which I've been to, and I can confirm the ticket prices are insane. This is just going to be another one of those. So, like I've been droning on about, it's a terrible situation for the average fan, but at least it'll look cool in Madden. That's my take on it. Maybe I'll pick one of these guys for my next Madden franchise.
Yeah, I don't think the Bills stadium's 2026 it's going to be done. Oh, will that be done next year? No.
Yeah, it's going to be opening for next season, not this upcoming season.
Oh, okay, I thought it was about to be opening for this. All right, 2 Maddens from now, we will be running with the Bills. Prez, invite me to your league, please.
Oh, it's going to be legendary. They don't even know.
That's about all the topics I think we got. You got anything else to add on?
That's it. It's a dog days for summer for you. You know, this was probably one of the biggest things to ever happen on June 30th in the NFL.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing.
We do have NBA free agency today. I think we have NHL free agency coming up tomorrow, but this is a football podcast after all, and I'm kind of mad at the Canucks right now, so we'll leave it be.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll leave that be for now. But going with the new upload schedule here, since we're actually going to be consistent, we're going to be uploading on Mondays. Except in a couple days, Kevin is actually coming here, so we're going to record an actual
in
one for both
person
of us.
episode.
The first ever in person episode. Hopefully not the last one. But that's all I got to say. You got anything?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you in the next one.
It's like after like